Hello again. Somebody emailed me yesterday with the amusing news that a fellow who has apparently been posting every day on his own channel, which is dedicated to criticising me and trying to get this channel removed, has actually had one of his own videos removed for hate speech against homosexuals. You couldn't, as they say, make it up, for this fellow is about as left-wing and progressive as one can get. Last year, I was aware of half a dozen channels which had sprung up on YouTube, started by people whose avowed intention was to get YouTube to delete this channel. I attempted to establish a rational dialogue with one or two of them, but it was a hopeless task. Those running them were too angry to hold articulate conversations, and so I abandoned the attempt. I haven't looked at any of them for some months. After I was told about the business of the video being removed for hate speech yesterday, though, I checked back and found that all but two of the channels had now vanished. The remaining two appear to be under threat. At least YouTube is keeping a beady eye upon them. The reason is simple. In the description to this video, I give a link to YouTube's community guidelines on harassment and cyberbullying. Allow me to quote. Here are some examples of content that's not allowed on YouTube. Accounts dedicated entirely to focusing on maliciously insulting an identifiable individual. Well, that really describes to a T the remaining two channels which post stuff exclusively about me. Every single video on both these channels is tagged as @HistoryDebunked Simon Webb. The only purpose of the channels is to make videos about me. Whether the material is maliciously insulting, of course, depends whether you regard creating endless loops of images of me so as to make me appear grotesque and twitching uncontrollably as being maliciously insulting. Some would, I suppose. That is the level to which these folks descend. It is little wonder that YouTube is watching them. They are obviously violating the community guidelines in a way which I do not. Then too, those running the channels do tend to attract some pretty sleazy and disreputable characters. I need hardly add that neither of those running the channels have the courage to use their own names, faces and voices. That sort of coward never does. And nor, of course, will any of the strange people whom they attract in their comments ever identify themselves. A couple of them comment here from time to time, particularly one who calls himself Racialist Slayer. This chap has not only dreamed up a story that I am a homosexual who is dying of AIDS, he has also managed to rope my 8-year-old grandson into his fantasies. He claims on one of these channels that my grandson has told him that I have AIDS. I only have one grandson. Of course, when this man first claimed to have been in touch with him, I notified the child's mother, who in turn contacted the police. It seems that the whole thing is nonsense. There hasn't actually been any contact. But it gives you some idea of the kind of people one is dealing with on those two channels. This man comments regularly on both of them, from what I could see yesterday, and the people who run the channels interact quite cheerfully with him. This might perhaps also go some way towards explaining why YouTube is now both deleting videos and issuing a strike to one channel, while also putting age-restricted guidance on the videos made by the other channel. It tells me all that I need to know when I see that the people running the channels are happy to chat amicably with a man who fantasises about talking to an 8-year-old boy about sexually transmitted diseases. This is one of the regulars in those places, but there are others who are almost as bad. Although I've never myself complained about any of this, I rather suspect that YouTube will in the not too distant future be coming down on them both rather hard. They are, as I say, currently riding a coach and horses through YouTube's community guidelines, and I rather doubt that they will get away with it forever.